they were writing Murder Drone Season 2, Episode 5. The episode opens up with the teacher floating in space from Season 1. As he rolls his eyes to himself, he floats past our main group's human spaceship as a tail comes out, grabbing him on his leg, pulling him into the ship. Jessica welcomes him, saying, "Hello, fellow drone. What can I do for you on this fine country evening?" I'm just kidding, I'm not country. The teacher just rolls his eyes in annoyance and slams his head on the ground before looking up and seeing Uzi with Doll's tail moving around her as Uzi and the rest of the gang begin to gather body parts to reconstruct Doll's dead body, as Doll says in Russian, causing subtitles to appear. "Thank you guys for helping me." For some reason, Sin's voice comes out. In Russian, though. After they reconstruct Doll's body, she rolls her eye, teleporting down the hallway to meet V, standing there. As her and V begin to fight, Uzi and In stop them mid-fight as they convince Doll to let go of the past and to move on along with them, which leads Doll and V into an argument and getting over the differences, with V saying, "Ugh, why did we even bring you back?" Doll then replies with, "Shut up, V, I could kill you if I wanted to, with my silver." V just rolls her eyes in annoyance as Doll notices Lizzie walking towards them. Doll greets Lizzie, saying, "Hello, Lizzie," before her and Lizzie do a little handshake. V rolls her eyes again, before climbing up on the ceiling and going to sleep, upside down with her wings flapping inwards. It cuts to Fad, coming up to V's sleeping corpse, tapping her with a stick, saying, "Hey V, can I borrow Sparky to explore this place?" V opens one eye and just says, "Sure, whatever, just don't get yourself killed, and don't get Sparky killed." She closes her eye, flapping her wing back in, falling asleep again. Fad finds the sentry chained up before unchaining it and getting on its back. Spooky, wearing his cowboy hat. Fad also grabs a pipe wrench off of a desk and puts it in his pocket, before the two begin to ride into the hallway, as a tendril slithers down, grabbing Fad's foot, pulling him off of Spooky, which causes Spooky to freak out and thrash around, before running down a dark hallway as Fad is pulled into the darkness. And the silver's eye peeks out, flashing yellow. Fad is restrained to a table, like Uzi and V from Season 1, Episode 6. A knife is then stabbed into his hand, as the silver asks, "How was your day, Fad?" Fad begins to remember his awful past on Copper 9, about his abusive dad, who tried to kill him and his mom one night. Fad remembers finding the pipe wrench he had throughout Season 1, and he had to do the unthinkable, kill his own dad in a fight. It flashbacks to Fad throwing the pipe wrench at his dad's head as his mom gasps for air after being stabbed by a knife by his dad. Alcohol bottles and cigarettes sit everywhere in the room, as Fad's dad's head gets split open by the pipe wrench as he falls to the ground, leaking oil everywhere. As Fad's mom goes over to Fad, asking if he's okay, still gasping for air with wounds all over her. Fad grabs her and begins to repair her with bits of metal from his own dad, telling her everything's gonna be okay, and bleeding heavily, as he sees his bloody pipe wrench, or more oily pipe wrench, sitting on the ground next to him, with his dad's corpse laying there, dismantled, the bits of metal he had to take to fix his mom and himself. It cuts to Noi as the gang gathers around her, and Noi begins to explain something, Listen up, idiots, she says. So basically, sin's back, we all knew that. But is it our sin? In asks, what do you mean by that? Noi slaps him with her silver. I'm getting to that end, she says, sighing and rolling her one eye as the silver's glow illuminates the room. So basically, I figured out that there's a multiverse of some kind. Different realities and timelines of sin. Every reality has millions of timelines. This sin could be a different sin getting into our universe. Or it could be sin using a different body. We don't know. But keep in mind that this could be a sin with a whole new power level. Or she could be weak. We don't know. But based on what she's been doing, it seems she's pretty strong. And she's not messing around. So it might be our sin, but I don't know. So keep that in mind, she says, slapping in a few times across his face as Uzi grabs Noi's core and slams her against the wall with her own yellow silver. Stop attacking him, Uzi says, rolling her eyes. Noi rolls her eye back before walking away, climbing on Khan's shoulder. And Khan is walking on a door, like always, with his new wrench and skills being trained to him by Noi, as the two walk away to get more material for the door. It cuts back to Thad being tortured, as we see glitches appearing on his face, as the silver says, unleashing some of its tendrils. I literally just asked how your day was. I did not need your whole backstory, Thad. It rolls all of its mechanical eyes, before Thad's left eye flickers with a green absolute silver symbol, as the silver laughs menacingly. Giggle, giggle, giggle. Finally, it says, as Thad's eyes begin to glitch more. It cuts to Noi. Oh my gosh, not Noi. Uzi and Lily sitting on Uzi's shoulders, and Uzi holding hands, walking down one of the hallways to the staying room. As they sit on the bed, Lily asks, is Grandma crazy? Uzi and In pause at that, not knowing what to say, before In responds with, no, she's not crazy. She's just a little herself. Lily hugs both of them, sitting on the bed next to them, as she thinks, with a yellow absolute silver symbol glitching across her face. In and Uzi both notice this and share a look of worry, but they don't say anything, as it cuts back to Spooky wandering the dark hallways alone, as he flashes his lights everywhere, trying to find where to go, find his master V, or Thad, who took him, but he can't. He eventually wanders into a dark room, seeing tons of old weapons created by the humans, stored away. As he flashes his lights some more, he notices someone watching him. 2 yellow eyes, or more 2 tendrils with eyes. Spooky flashes them as the tendrils slither back into the darkness above. As Spooky runs through the hallways barely, as something begins to chase him, tendrils spilling everywhere, oil and bodies falling all around him, as he flashes back, trying to stun the monster, but he can't. Spooky runs into the main lobby, crashing in to one of the desks with a human in it. The human falls to the ground, the chair barreling across the floor, as we see the mechanical beast slither back into the darkness as it looks through the door. One last look at Spooky. It cuts to V, stalking Lizzie, as her wings open and claws stretch. Stalking Lizzie, as her wings open and claws stretch out, as she flips, and she asks Lizzie, what she's doing. Lizzie is texting the unknown number. The text I have flash on screen saying, Well, after the first text from last episode, obviously, it says, "So Dad, are you coming to get us soon?" The text after that from what we can presume is Sin, or someone else we don't know, who's behind the screen, says, "Yeah, but what's your coordinates?" Lizzie looks at the humans, saying what's their coordinates, as they share them with her, saying X, Y, and Z6. "Those are our coordinates," one of the humans says, as Lizzie texts them over, saying, "Come on, Dad, let's be a family," before Lizzie rolls her eyes, as she notices the teacher is already here. The teacher is her dad, so she's wondering who she's actually texting and who she just gave her coordinates to. She does not know, as V drops from the ceiling, inviting her to go explore some of the spaceship, putting a knife to her neck, giggling. She giggles, as Lizzie looks scared, but eventually backs off, putting her phone in her pocket, saying, "Sure, idiot. Let's go, I guess," she says in a shaky voice, as the two get ready to head out. It cuts to Ned battling with Jessica about whether they should kill all of the Silver Host or no, they should not. Jessica saying they shouldn't and Ned saying they should, as the two fight, yelling. Jessica then yells, "You can't kill them just because they have the silver, Ned. What is wrong with you?" She says. Neil looks at her saying, "But my name's not Ned, it's Neil." "Did you forget my name?" he yells. Jessica then replies angrily, "Okay, what if I did?" she says. It then cuts back to Ned, zooming in on his eyes, as he looks shocked that she would say something like that. She says, "Fine, we won't kill the Silver Host yet, but if Sin tries to possess one of them, they're all dead. Got it?" Jessica looks angry at this, but she hesitantly sighs and agrees to the terms Neil has given. As it cuts back to Con and Noi walking on the door, as Con begins to quickly build the door, Noi helping polish it all up, as the two finish the door. Con is very proud as he claps his hands, and Noi gets on his back, saying, "It's not that impressive, Con. You've built way better back on Copper 9. Con just pats the horse's head, patting her, and then petting her. Noi then slaps him down to the ground with her silver, saying, "Don't do that again," before letting him up. Con sits up and gets ready to start work on the next door. It cuts back to Fad grabbing his pipe wrench and breaking out of the restraints of the operating table as the silver's tendrils slither around him. Fad eventually cuts through them, fighting alongside, as he's slammed to the ground by one of the tendrils, as he cuts them all away, getting out the door, and thinking he's safe in this hallway. But the silver creeps its way into the darkness, as we see something above Fad. V drops in, a clone of her, stabbing Fad and throwing him to the ground, as it cuts back to the base with everyone hanging out in the main part of the spaceship, as a door we've never seen behind opens. A new character walking out. He reveals his name to be Serial Designation L, a mix of a disassembly drone and a Waka drone, infected with the Absolute Silver program. His goal, take down Sin since she destroyed his family, all of his friends, and his home planet. These are pretty reasonable goals. He begins to lay out the plan for all of them, giving maps, blueprints, showing Sin's power levels, all in one big PowerPoint, as he presents it to everyone, except Uzi, Anna, and Lily, because they are still in their room, and Fad. He and Lizzie take notice, but they really don't care, as they begin to walk off, as we see Sin blowing up a planet in one of the rings, leaving only a few left, as it cuts into the future by a few seconds, showing the remains of what Sin had done. V and Lizzie start to wander down the hallway after leaving the main room. They begin to walk, and they stumble across the older weapon rooms Pokey was in earlier. V and Lizzie testing out some older weapons they find as they hear Thad scream in the distance. The two grab one weapon each, and V quickly wraps her tail around Lizzie, flying into the direction of Thad's scream. As V tells Lizzie to come on, they don't have all day, as Lizzie hangs on barely, dropping the weapon, but hanging on to her phone as a text lights it up, saying, "I'm coming right now, so we can be a family again." It is from the unknown number. As Lizzie eventually falls, she begins to run after V, flying. As the two keep a good pace, Lizzie jumping across the walls in some good anime-style moves, with her cat ears glistening in the dim lights of the hallway. V flying quicker and quicker, as the two eventually reach a door with a code. They need to find a way in, as V shoots rockets and claws at it. Lizzie goes back and grabs her weapon, shooting at it, trying to get the door open no matter the cost. As it cuts to Thad grabbing his pipe wrench and standing up from his wound, ready to fight the disassembly drone. As he throws a pin that he finds on a desk right at the disassembly drone, making nanite acid spill everywhere, burning its eyes. The clone of V shrieks in pain as she readies swords, getting ready to run back into the room. Lizzie, with her railgun that resembles Uzi's from the first season, throws it at Thad. Thad catches it with his football skills as the clone of V lunges at him. Thad readies his gun, getting ready to take a shot. As he presses the trigger, the clone of V inches away from him. A blast happens. Pew! V loses half of her body, or the clone of V, I should say, as she continues to try and murder Thad, not noticing V and Lizzie's presence in the room. As the Silva starts recording, saying, "This is a lovely fight. Giggle." As V readies weapons, pointing them at the clone of V, Lizzie jumping on its head with two knives, stabbing its nanite acid lights, the ones it has left. Nanite acid pouring all over the ground again, as V shoots a rocket at it, blowing its legs off. With its one wing, the clone of V decides to fly off, as Lizzie stands triumphantly. Then, with the clone of V flying into the darkness, the real V gets her homing missile and shoots it at it. We see a big explosion come from where the clone of V flew, its remains falling on the ground. As all three of them begin to leave the room, Thad's left eye glitches with the absolute Silva symbol. As a tendril from the Silva grabs the remains of the clone of V, saying, "You failed me, Veronica. Time to completely die now. No coming back to life," it says menacingly, as its one eye focuses, looking down to see someone in its main lair. A new disassembly drone, colored all black with a red X on its face, in the shape of N, as he laughs, his wristband reading serial designation S, as the Silva greets him, saying, "Ready to get to work, S." The disassembly drone looks at it, saying, "My name's not S, it's X, Sid," and mumbles, as the Silva just rolls its eye, saying, "Whatever, I don't care," as the episode ends. Can you help me see? Let the F take me. please don't feel bad for me, or you'll make me cry. I will die alone, so please help me see